everybody. Welcome to another edition of Keys to the Game. I'm David Thomas. This is Mr. Bill Anderson. We're here to break down the Sheffield Central High School versus Tullahoma game. Bill, championship night.
Championship night. Does it get any bigger than this?
No.
It's your biggest rival.
Yeah.
It's for a championship. And I don't say it gets any bigger than this. Shelbyville, Tullahoma, the Golden Eagles are 8-1. Tullahoma's 6-3. Shelbyville's 5-0. Tullahoma's 4-1 in the region. Last year, Shelbyville beat Tullahoma 34-14. Tullahoma lost their first two games this year to Stewart's Creek and to Coffee County, 33-21, 24-21, and a barn burner against Coffee. Since then, they've won 6 of 7, and their last loss was to Lincoln County back on September 20th, 42-35.
Right, and they beat Columbia 13-0.
13-0.
All right, so Bill, what do you think Tullahoma's going to do against Shelbyville defense? The Shelbyville defense has gotten better and better and better every week. They get pressure on the quarterback. Our defensive backs are defending the deep ball, the short pass. They're covering the field, and that front is stopping the run.
Absolutely.
What does Tullahoma do to move the ball against our defense?
Tullahoma's got a really good running back, Marvancy Johnson. There's two Johnson kids here. One of them's the brother, the wide receiver. Kanai. He's a good receiver. And then you got Johnson. And this Johnson kid, guy's better than people think. He's averaging 132 yards a game. He's almost got as many rushing yards as Robert's got. He's got 14 touchdowns. The quarterback, Lucas Reed, 56% completion percentage in high school is pretty good.
Yeah.
Got over 1,100, 1,200 yards passing.
And that Kanai Johnson is his main target. Then you've got also a Bobo.
Another Bobo.
Another Bobo. And then you've
Alex
got this great big tight end that they've got that they don't utilize. He lumbers around that field, and he's always open, it seems like. I've watched some of their games, and he's around. So you got to keep your eye on that. So our defensive backfield is going to be busy watching those targets, and then we've got to get pressure on that quarterback.
And then we've got to control the Johnson kid because you and I both watched Tullahoma in certain games like Columbia. They ran him 37 times.
Right.
They threw it 3.
Right.
Then other games you'll watch them, they'll throw it 25 or 30.
They got a balanced attack.
They've got a balanced attack. And I think what they think they can do is the short passing game, the wheel routes, screens, and slants.
Right.
That's how they're going to attack us. 2 seconds, get it out.
They're going to attack our outside linebackers.
They're going to go after the linebackers on the wheel routes, going back, looking at film from earlier in the year, thinking they can hit Johnson coming out of the backfield on the wheel, hit the slant, because I know they like to put the Johnson kid, their best receiver, in the slot.
Right.
They're not going to put him out wide all the time.
So
they're going to try.
Jackson Thiem.
Yep.
Nate Zimmerman.
Chandler Jones.
And Zion Bonner. That's who they're going after.
But you might see Stephen Bobo and a safety move up into that position.
Oh, he'll come up.
And there's going to be chances for our defense to get picks and pick sixes going the other way if they do what I think they're going to do.
Right.
But they're still going to run the ball.
Right.
They're well coached, and they've got a good ball club.
I think they're going to try to avoid that pressure that we have.
By the quick passing game. Right. Get it out fast.
Yeah.
And run the football. They're going to try to run the football just like we're going to try to run the football. Because if you can't run the ball in this game, you're done.
How do you think either team will try to milk that clock and shorten the game?
Tullahoma will.
You think?
I do.
All right,
they'll try to limit the possessions as best they can because it's in their best interest to do so.
Right. Our defense needs some 3-and-outs quick.
Need 3 and
let's get ahead fast.
And keep generating the turnovers we've generated the last 4 or 5 weeks. But by doing that, we have to stop the Johnson kid in the running game, first of all. Stop the run.
Right.
And then see if we can put them in, not when you want to pass, but when you have to pass.
Then it's trouble.
That's when we're in good shape.
Yeah.
But if they can throw when they want to throw, they may throw it on us.
Yeah.
Because I think you're going to see them throwing on first down a little bit.
Oh, I think you will too. And it seems like that their quarterback loves to throw to the right.
Yes.
He's stronger to the right side, and that's where they line up Kanai Johnson in that slot.
Yep.
He takes a step back. Quarterback raises up from the snap and throws it to him and puts him out in space.
And I think they're going to target the running back, his brother, in the passing game as well. On screens, on wheel routes. I think they're going to target him.
They could do it. All right. So Shelbyville Central moving the ball. Of course, we've seen some new wrinkles in our offense. We saw that against Lincoln County when we had an empty backfield set. Stephen Bobo shifted. Mason Shavers came in, threw a touchdown pass to LeBron Ransom on the opposite side of the field. Got heavy on one side. It was wide open. It's called back, of course, for illegal shift or whatever it was. That play on film and on the video, makes them think a little bit about that possibility. So I think we've got some new wrinkles that we've added. Now, how many of those things get worked into this game, I think is going to be critical, because I think we need to pull out something that nobody's seen before but get a shocker on them. I think we need to play like that in this game.
I think you're going to see, and we talked about it before we went on the air, Tullahoma has seen what other teams have done. They're going to do an 8-man box.
Yeah.
I'll be shocked if they don't. And we're going to try to run the ball between the tackles on an 8-man front. It's hard to block that with 5 guys.
Yeah.
Now that you're able to move Palmer Edwards to tight end, you basically could have conceivably 6 linemen out there if you count him that way.
Right.
Because obviously he can play line. If we can get our running game to the edge, to the outside, whether it be Robert, whether it be Steven, and get around, we've got a big speed advantage on them.
Yeah. We've got the advantage on the point of attack. Now, they have some speed on the backside of it.
But if you're outnumbered 8-9 to 5, or you're outnumbered, you can't run it. What I'm saying is you can't run it right at somebody if I've got 3 more guys than you got.
Exactly. Mathematically, it just don't work.
Now, Tullahoma's not great against stopping the run. They have not been all year long. And our bread and butter's run the football. I want to run the football. Right. And I think I want to get Bailey going in this game.
Yeah, I'd like to see him rush for about 200.
No, I would too. And get about an 80-yard touchdown would be wonderful.
Yeah, it would.
And the underlying thing here that this team has that we hadn't had in the past is Steven can run the RPO, pull it out, and he can go to the house.
Oh, anytime. Scott Spray.
Hey, Scott.
Glad you're watching.
Great.
You going to be at the game tonight, Scott? I bet you are.
I bet you are too. And at what point do we throw it maybe a hair more if we're seeing that 8-9-man box? You burn them once or twice with LeBron or William. That will open it up.
And one thing that I've seen also, just a couple of times this year, our tight ends are always open.
Yes. Coming
in motion, flinging over in the flat. They're there. Or maybe a little slant. They're always there. And I've said this, high school football, the middle of the field is typically open. Right behind the linebackers all the times, because you got people. What happens is I think your safeties are always watching one side, because in a lot of cases they're hiding somebody on defense and they have to shade one side. Mm-hmm. So that safety is occupied to one side and the middle of the field is always open. And I think
we've used the middle of the field, if you go back, with some slants that I would call to William that have been open, and to LeBron. And it has always been open, and we've gotten some big plays this year from it.
Might see one in this game.
You might, because that way it's coming across, and Steven does a good job delivering that football.
It goes right in his face. I mean, he sees it in his face. He's not having to look far. It's coming to him instead of
one worry that I will bring up, and I call it the pick 6 screen. Everybody laughs at it.
It's not.
But it worries me here in a game like this one, to where you run one of these long-distance screens and you telegraph it.
Yeah.
And it gets pick 6 the other way, because if I'm Tullahoma, I'm playing that.
We just don't need to do that.
Well, I'm playing it. Well, I'm just saying, if I'm the defensive coordinator for Tullahoma, I'm doing, hey, guys, when they're lined up, they do it
that's what they're going to do.
Then I'm going to break on the ball.
We've shown that enough to where they're ready for that.
And I think we may run it a hair too much at times. That's a play you might get away with once or twice a game.
I say you burn it.
Well,
just take that page out of the playbook and burn it.
I would rather see it run the same play, can still be run to the slot guy and not to the far boundary. That's just all I'm saying.
Yeah.
And hit it that way and hit the same play where it's not so far to throw it. Because there's been a couple of times Steven has not thrown it or thrown it high because he saw what was coming and threw it away.
Well, he was smart enough to overthrow it.
Right.
And or throw it down to the ground.
But overall, we've got a speed advantage.
Yeah.
And I think we've got a grit advantage on offense and defense.
Physical, I think we're as physical as any team in Middle Tennessee that I've seen. And I think we're a lot more physical than our region.
Yes.
I think Columbia was physical early. But now I don't see the physicality in our region. And I think that's an edge we have. And that gets to that grit that you were talking about, because our team is gritty. They're going to fight.
They're going to fight.
Yeah. So
they're never behind enough.
All right. What's the score, Bill?
Well, let's go back to one other thing that I hate to bring this up, but I'm going to. Tullahoma's special teams are wonderful. Mm-hmm. We're not going to be better than them on special teams tonight.
They're going to punt it well. They're going to kick it well. They're going to hit it.
That's something they prided themselves on for years.
Yes.
All I'm asking is, let's not be bad. Yeah. Let's not be terrible. Yeah. Let's not have 6-yard punts.
We've seen the capabilities that our special teams has. I just think we've got to get consistent there going into the playoffs, or we're going to have some giveaways.
You can't give the other team the ball on the 40 and the 50-yard line every time.
It opens their playbook up, and it puts our defense at a disadvantage right out of the gate.
And we've got to cover better on kicks that are returned.
Right.
However, we got to do it, because go back to the Tullahoma game last year. What happened? The opening kickoff.
All the way.
to the house, 7-0 Tullahoma. Now,
Right.
after that, we shut them down.
Right.
But in a game like this on the road, you give up a big kick return, a punt return.
It can change the
It
tone
changes
of the game.
and gets
Yeah.
Tullahoma going, gets the crowd going, gets
Yep.
the momentum going on
Yep.
something cheap that should have never happened.
And that's the difference in this game. If that happens over there and they do it, their crowd's going to be off the charts right off the gate.
Oh, absolutely.
So we can't have that happen.
You cannot have that happen. And we don't have to be better than them on special teams. Let's just be average and don't make any blunders.
Right. No offsides on kickoffs. We've
And
got
we've
that
done better
corrected.
on that.
Yeah,
That
we've
seems
done
to
a
be
lot
corrected.
better. But let's kick it in the end zone.
And if you don't, and they do bring it out, let's get better with our wedge buster and our coverage.
Yeah.
We gave up a long 40, 41, 42-yarder to Lincoln County last week.
Our containment seems to be there, and where we're getting beat is in our inside lanes.
Mhm.
It's like somebody's getting trapped or getting out of their lane. So
And I don't know if the answer is, using starters there or what, but in a playoff game like this, I would be thinking maybe do that.
Yeah,
Because you cannot give up something cheap on special teams can come back and haunt you later.
Well,
If we don't make any blunders here, we're going to win this football game. You'd ask what the score is going to be.
Yeah.
We're going to win the game.
All right. Well, let's hear your score.
I think it's going to be 28-14 Shelbyville, maybe more.
31-10.
That's
what.
we're
That's
close.
about, we're close.
I could see 35-14 or 28-14. But you get a blunder or two,
It's close.
then all of a sudden you're in a dogfight.
Yeah, you go
Because
back.
I do not underestimate these guys. They're well coached. They've got good players. They're going to have a good scheme. I just think we're more physical. I think we've got a lot better defense than they have.
Right. Listen,
How do we handle the 8-man box?
Here's something that Coach Dryden said on the Dryden Show this past week. He's always fought that there's 5 plays that determine the outcome of a game. And you look back at Lincoln County, and you can count those 5 plays. 2 of them were deep in our territory when they were driving.
Yep.
And it was 14-7. We were ahead. Could have been 14-14.
Sure could have.
Real quick. Interception.
Yep.
Ball snapped over the head.
Yep.
Those are the 2 key plays last week that made a blowout
Right.
versus a tight ball game going into the fourth quarter. I mean, it's that close.
It is that close.
There's those plays. And I think Shelbyville's attention to detail on those plays from our kids, correcting themselves on the fly, gives us the edge on those plays.
Now, I do think, if I'm right in what I've heard, what I think Tullahoma's going to do with this short passing, I think you could see our defense scoring a time or two.
Oh, yeah,
here.
we could see a linebacker take off
You
with
could
the ball.
see Nate Zimmerman, Brody Lavorne, or somebody
Yeah.
pick one on a
Yeah.
pick six.
Yeah.
Or
All right.
if things, like I said, go the other way. But let's talk about the playoffs and what implications
Yes.
we've got here.
Yes, it's
So-
looking very close to a matchup like we had last week,
Had last
assuming
year.
we win.
But Marshall County, or not Marshall County, Lincoln County's at home to Columbia.
Right.
If Lincoln County has to beat Columbia and we were to lose, we're still the number 1 seed
Head to head.
head to head because it's a 3-way split then. And then the overall record, Shelbyville gets it. Now, we're not
Right.
worried about that. We're going to win the ball game. That's what our goal is. But if Columbia were to beat Lincoln County and we were to lose, Tullahoma would be the one. And I'm going to tell you, David, Columbia, if Seven's the quarterback, could go down there and beat them if they've got their kids.
Right.
If they've got the kids they had up here when they played
If
us,
that team that played us plays down there, they're going to beat Lincoln.
and Seven's the quarterback.
Right.
Now, if they put the other kid in at quarterback and don't have those kids, Lincoln County at home is going to beat them.
Man, you just wonder what's going on with Columbia.
I don't understand.
I mean, to me, it was us and them.
Oh, I
start of
thought
the
so
year.
too. And I
Yeah.
thought after we played them, we going to the playoffs, Columbia will make some noise in the playoffs.
Yes.
That's what I was thinking.
Yes, I said that they can compete with that other region.
Yes. And now it looks like, they may well be the 4th seed here and having to go to Page the first
Oh,
game.
But, who knows? That might be a blessing. Hey, what if Columbia got it all together and they ended up being 4th, but they get it all together for the Page game and upset Page?
That
could be
ain't going to happen.
No, I don't think so.
Now,
But
the
I'm
other
just
region is
dreaming.
the same as last year. You got Page 1. This year, Nolensville's 2,
Swapped.
but they play each other
Centennial,
tonight
yeah.
for the championship.
And Centennial plays Hillsborough.
So last year it was Nolensville and Centennial swapped over.
Right.
So
Right. So I see us setting up a 1 versus a 4, Shelbyville versus Hillsborough, and then jumping to the next level, next round, depending on what happens. I feel like that our region is a little stronger versus them. Their region is a little weaker from 2, 3, and 4 spots. I think Nolensville, Centennial is down from last year. They're probably going to they'll be ending up 3rd. Okay.
probably.
So you start looking at those battles that take place next week. If we're in the 1 versus 4, those 2 versus 3s, we could come out playing somebody of our own region again.
Well, the other way it would break down would be if Shelbyville beats Tullahoma, they're the 1. Lincoln County beats Columbia, they're going to be the 2.
Yeah.
Which will make Tullahoma a 3 seed
Right.
and having to go on the road.
Right. And they would play their number
so
2.
Tullahoma's only chance here is to win the game, hope for some stuff.
Yeah.
But if they lose, they don't even have a home playoff game.
And say it could be another matchup.
I believe that's right.
Tullahoma played Nolensville last year in the first round, and they got beat. But they could have that rematch coming up. Man, there's a lot of scenarios that play out. We'll talk about this more tomorrow on our Beverly County Sports Talk.
And I think it's important that everybody gets out and goes to this game.
Yes.
It's just right down the road. It's a wonderful atmosphere at Tullahoma.
Yep.
They tailgate, and it's massive what they
Yes.
put on over there.
And they'll have their Jumbotron fired up, and I guarantee you they will have their play clock running.
Guarantee it. And the food over there is always really good. They do a really good job with the food, too, over there.
You know those black boxes that we got in our end zones?
Yeah.
They just sit there and they stay black? Well, theirs is going to be lit up with numbers on them, probably.
Oh, I guarantee it.
Oh, yeah. They'll have it going.
But the thing about Tullahoma we got to remember is, what was it, 3 or 4 years ago, they won the 4A state championship.
Yeah.
They've got a program over there.
Yeah, they do.
Now, are we better this year? I think we are, but I'm not underestimating Tullahoma for 1 minute.
No.
I said it the other day. I'll say it again. We could be 1-9 and they're 1-9. It don't matter.
It don't make any difference.
These 2 schools don't like each other.
And honestly, this year, both teams have some athletes.
But both teams have athletes. I think we have a few more athletes, and I think we have more speed.
Speed advantage.
But I will say this. They have very good football players with high football IQs like we do.
Right.
And they're very well coached.
Right.
Tullahoma does a really good job. This could be a really close ball game.
Bill.
Or it could be, if things go with the same thing that we were saying we can't do. They can't turn it over and give us something cheap.
Right, exactly.
Or the game could get like Lincoln County did.
Yeah. Yeah.
But of that, you had, 2 defensive scores and 4 turnovers, and that was sort of why it went the way it went.
Last week against Spring Hill, Tullahoma made a lot of mistakes.
They really did.
A lot of penalties, they had some turnovers. They're susceptible to that. And that's one thing, and I'm not going to jinx our boys. Our turnovers have not been enormous this year.
They have not.
Our takeaway ratio is extremely good.
You're right.
And that's a mistake. And early on, we were getting some late personal foul calls, unsportsmanlike calls early in the year. Those have tapered off. Now, we're still playing with passion and physicality, but the boys know what to do. They know to walk away from the play.
They're not letting somebody goad them into something anymore.
Exactly.
And that's kudos to the kids and the coaching staff. They're not falling for it.
Yeah, they're playing smart football in that.
Because there was some goating going on down there at Lincoln County last week.
Oh, yeah, there was. A lot of talking, a lot of cheap shots.
And you'll probably see a little bit of that because it's a rivalry here tonight.
Yeah.
I mean, Tullahoma's going to do whatever they can do to put themselves in a position to be successful, and give them credit for that.
Yeah.
Key's going to be turnovers, always is, and it's going to be our physicality versus theirs.
That's it.
Who's more physical? Who wants it more? It's a championship game.
Yeah.
The playoffs are tonight.
That's it. Well, guys, get out, support the Shelbyville Golden Eagles at 7 o'clock, and go over to Tullahoma. Make sure you fill those stands. The boys need your support. And we'll be here in the morning at 9 o'clock to talk about the results and look at the playoff bracket. Have a good rest.